The Anti-Drug Abuse Act of 1986 incarcerated a person 100 times more that possessed crack cocaine compared to powder cocaine under the same mandatory minimum sentences. Defendants of this crack law were 80% black. The forced incarceration upon the black population bestowed rules that united fraction gangs into politics for survival. A legacy persisted from the ancestral tribes that were fractioned and captured by the Western forced enslavement. In 2006, Keith Hunter, aka O.G. V.E.L.I, was sentenced to 262 months in federal prison for drug trafficking and gun possession. On December 18, 2018, President Donald Trump signed the First Step Act, retroactively reducing the statutory penalties for crack cocaine offenses from 18-to-1 ratio to 100-to-1. O.G. V.E.L.I fought his case and came home the right way, without snitching.
I'ma burn up anything that come around me. Bitch, I'm reppin' Dade County. Ain't no pussy niggas around me, get them wetter than a fountain. Blue cheese got me dressed, Balenciaga, how I'm stepping. You don't like me, come and scratch me, nigga. I'ma burn up anything that come around me. Bitch, I'm reppin' Dade County. Ain't no pussy niggas around me, get them wetter than the fountain. Blue cheese got me dressed, Balenciaga, how I'm stepping. You don't like me, come and scratch me, nigga. I'ma burn up anything that come around me. Ain't no pussy niggas around me. Blue cheese got me dressed, Balenciaga, how I'm stepping. You don't like me, come and scratch me, nigga. Fireman, you the hottest in the land. If nobody else can do it, bet you can. Yes, I can. 20 grand, 50 grand, 50 grand, 100 grand. I'ma run them bands up, fuck your advance. I heard your man was in the can, telling everything he can. And you back fucking with the nigga again? Oh boy. That ain't trill, that ain't trill. I don't want that shit around me, cause that shit can be contagious and that's real. Play fighting with my brother, tell my mama that I love her. My sister, I'm out the door to pay the bill. Show my people that I love her. Fuck my bitch under the covers. Every time I lie, she get mad, but take me back still. Ain't no pussy niggas around me, get them wetter than a fountain. Blue cheese got me dressed, Balenciaga, how I'm stepping. You don't like me, come and scratch me, nigga. I'ma burn up anything that come around me. Bitch, I'm reppin' Dade County. Ain't no pussy niggas around me, get them wetter than the fountain. Blue cheese got me dressed, Balenciaga, how I'm stepping. You don't like me, come and scratch me, nigga. I'ma burn up anything that come around me. Ain't no pussy niggas around me. Blue cheese got me dressed, Balenciaga, how I'm stepping. You don't like me, come and scratch me, nigga. Iceman, I'm the coldest in the land. Ain't nobody hard-coded than me, man. Fuck a bitch without no feelings. Leave a bitch in the feelings with a lick face in the ceiling. I be trying to get it in. Money stand tall as a midget. I be running up them digits. Niggas acting real friendly, but I know it's all pretend. Heard your bitch was doing bad, selling stamps and selling ass, and she ain't feeding the kids. What you gon' do about that? Niggas locked up and they fucked up and they bitches on the come up, and them niggas that you come up with don't wanna really rap. You find out your bitch cheating, you gon' cry, you gon' leave her, you gon' die, you gon' beat her. None of the bug gon' take it back, nigga. I'ma burn up anything that come around me. Ain't no pussy niggas around me. Blue cheese got me dressed, Balenciaga, how I'm stepping. You don't like me, come and scratch me, nigga. I'ma burn up anything that come around me. Bitch, I'm reppin' Dade County. Ain't no pussy niggas around me, get them wetter than the fountain. Blue cheese got me dressed, Balenciaga, how I'm stepping. You don't like me, come and scratch me, nigga. I'ma burn up anything that come around me. Ain't no pussy niggas around me. Blue cheese got me dressed, Balenciaga, how I'm stepping. You don't like me, come and scratch me, nigga.
Greetings, gentlemen, women, kings and queens. It's an honor for me to be up here speaking to you all today. My name is Marcus Lamar, and I'm from Dade County, Florida. I'm originally from Opelika, but I've lived in Cloverleaf, Brown Sub, Little Haiti, and Liberty City. Growing up, I've seen a lot of drug use, crimes, and gun violence. My father suffered from drug addiction. The men my mother dated abused drugs, such as crack, cocaine, and heroin. Living in an environment where drug use was common led me to drug use myself, mainly weed laced with cocaine, Dade County dirty joints. The influence of street drug culture in my city led me to prison, multiple arrests, county time, probation, and drug programs. This revolving door of oppression, poverty, and negative influences shaped my development thinking on how can I change the reckless behavior within the subculture of Black America. I am the author of the book New Black Revolution, the story of a young Black man who grew up in extreme poverty only to see his neighborhood hero murdered by police brutality with no justice done for the community. The New Black Revolution is a directional change of thinking and living toward renewing the mind, body, soul, and spirit in order to accomplish unification and edification for the Black man, woman, and child all over the world. Part of this change is for us to stop killing one another over senseless shit. The premature deaths of young Black males in America has become a public health crisis, a health crisis that's been around for over 40 years. Anthony Gray is a registered nurse and has become the leading healthcare provider bringing awareness to this crisis.
My name is Anthony A. Gray, and I'm author of the book, A Soul to Care, A Blessing That Came from Trouble. The book is a self-memoir screenplay to serve as a self-model improvement to a subculture that accepts prison and death as normality. As a registered nurse, I am raising awareness on the premature death of young Black males in America through interpersonal gun violence as a public health crisis. A public health crisis that's been around for 40 years. Using evidence-based research and showing why incarceration is not the answer, I have collaborated with other healthcare professionals in this project. In my first video, Dr. Zachary Jimenez and I discussed the social determinants of health for premature crime exposure and gun violence. We introduced the term JIT, G-I-T, Gangster in Training. It's a Florida-based term used to describe a school-age child, ages 6 to 12 years old, that is believed to be entering a criminal lifestyle and to live by the G code. The G code is an unwritten set of street laws that these JITs absorb at a incredibly early age. One of the laws in the G code is to commit murder or die. A JIT's mentality has been inured, toughened, to think that if you want to become someone in life, you have to commit murder or die to be viable to society. In my second video, Dr. Joel Chateauneuf and I discussed the term thug life. The hate you give little infants fucks everyone. This term was popularized by Tupac Shakur in the 1990s. It's basically speaking on the historical trauma that has been given to people. People that was kidnapped, chained, and enslaved and treated as their field animals for centuries. The historical trauma that was given to children that was on those slave ships. Historical trauma that was given to children that was on those slave plantations. Historical trauma that was given to those children during the Jim Crow era and the Civil Rights Movement. That trauma has led to gun violence to the children living in war zone communities in America today. The subculture of Black America are the direct descendants of America's cruel chattel slavery system. In this video, an OG called Penitentiary Rules in Effect, I will discuss prison politics that unite fractured gang members in America. I will be joined by Keith OG Gigavelli, penitentiary rules that OG Gigavelli have lived through. OG Gigavelli has an incarceration history of over 3 decades that includes juvenile correctional facilities, county jail, state and federal prison. He is the author of the books Pressure and Federal Pressure. The 2 books are his autobiographies explaining the criminal lifestyle that were normalized in his childhood. The books provide case studies into the drug game, gun violence, and prison politics that shape the developmental thinking of the G Code.
On the very next move, I was sitting in my doorway thinking about this hot ass mess these guys got me into. 10 minutes was the move, the time they give us, you know what I mean, go to the rec yard or the library. On that move, Coco had tied a lock around a belt, and he was on his way, just know what I mean, to go to check-in move. He rented to Polo. Polo and rented around, and Coco went on ahead, you know what I mean, and they checked in. But I looked at it as being a blessing. Cause if they didn't check in, I would have had to put that banger on Coco. And I'm just glad I didn't have to do that. I said so, but when the paperwork came back, the Georgia GA dude, he went on ahead and he checked in. I say, I guess I'm thinking like, damn, what my old seller was said was right. In the feds, there was only two kind of guys, man. Niggas that, you know what I mean, wish they told, and those that told. So he wasn't never lying. But this time, I just wanted to be able to go ahead and get out of the joint. So I was blessed that I ain't have to do it. It's crazy. It's crazy in the feds, man, how things go. But things can turn around and be a blessing, and sometimes they can be a curse. But with this situation with Coco though, I'm just that glad they turned out to be a blessing for me. Yeah. What's really happening? It's your boy OG V.E.L.I.
Man, welcome home, G. Goddamn, welcome home, boy.
Man. It's a blessing.
The city needs you, man. And most important, man, we're gonna get right into the G code, man. Your books, Pressure and Federal Pressure. I read both of those books, man. Those books are needed, especially it captivates the moments of Miami life, the real streets of Dade County, about Dade County streets and also about getting money on the road. Miami had a thing was we put down here, then we put down up the road.
Facts.
And your story captivate that. How was it like getting money on the road back in those times?
I mean, you know, it was always a thing for, you know, that's our trademark, being a source city like Miami was, right? And it's so crowded on selling dope in Miami. We decided, no, not me personally, but it was decided by some of the OGs before me to go up the road, branch out. So it was pretty easy going up the road, man, because just imagine bringing work to people. You know what I mean? People starving, they really green to what we doing down here, the whip game and whatever. So it was really, you know, real easy, man. Like everybody accept me wherever I went at, like North Carolina, Fayetteville, Panama City, Tennessee, Knoxville, Tennessee, any place I went, I was always welcome in like a real Miami boy.
And where you caught your Fed case at?
Knoxville, Tennessee. That's where I ended up getting knocked off in 2006.
And in your book, man, Federal Pressure, still on paperwork. You was one of those dudes when I read in your book, you had to check paperwork, letting know dude was real or not. In your book, you talk about 5K1 downward departure. What that mean?
Hey, right now the world know what that means. That's when you go to the feds, they not interested in your money. You know what I'm saying? The feds interested in soul catching. They want to break you down and make you go against any principle you stood on, right? But I was one of them rebellious niggas, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna keep my ass, but they ain't just gonna, you know what I'm saying, make me no hoe, you know what I'm saying? So I ain't never was interested in the 5K1. 5K1 is a law that they use to downward departure from the federal sentencing guidelines.
Okay.
And you get that by cooperating.
All right, and you wouldn't, no, not going for that. And then when you go in there too, when like I said, a new dude coming there, y'all check his PSI. You can explain what checking PSI mean?
PSI, they used to let you have your PSI. And pens, they would let somebody come into the counseling room, you know what I'm saying? If you don't have your physical PSI, what do you mean by that? That's your pre-sentencing investigation paperwork.
Yeah.
And that holds everything from the time you was indicted until the time you got sentenced, what took place in your particular case. So that's your driver's license, that's your passport on the yard, you know what I mean? To see if you're gonna be able to stay on that compound or if you got somebody serving life or some, you know what I mean, for you ratting. So in prison, they think that was becoming a problem with people getting ramped up and it was kind of hard to house rats with real dudes, right? So they stopped allowing people to have that paperwork. But some of us work, we just ways around everything, you know what I mean? But like I was saying, in the pen, they would, because they know that they gotta house you in the pen, they would let somebody, a representative from your car, which is your car meaning the group that you rolling with, they'll let them come into the counseling area, go over to the paperwork, you know what I mean? Mainly everybody pay attention to the last page. That'll show, that's the sentencing part of the PSI. And it'll show that if you got any points taken off or any sentence reduction for cooperating with authorities. That's how paperwork normally work. But because it was a hassle getting it all the time, sometimes people had to mail out for it, and you had to get 2 or 3 weeks to get it in. You had that grace period, and you know the time is ticking.
Yeah.
That you got to show somebody your work, or you know, you got to leave, or something gonna happen to you. It was other ways around that we was able to start looking at different things like your docket sheet. You know what I'm saying? I could go on your docket sheet and see some red flags because I know how a federal case proceeds. It normally don't take a long time. When the feds got you, they got a 99.1 or somewhere up there, almost close to 100 conviction rate. So when you start, when you get to the feds, ain't no back and forth with the feds. They gonna offer you something, you gonna work, take it, or you gonna know what I'm saying, or you going up the road with it. You gonna box it up and go to trial.
Yeah.
It ain't like the states where you could just ride out in the state and they start coming back on time. So it's a different ball game. That's why I named my second book Federal Pressure. That's a different level from the state.
And when you somebody coming up paper, what's the difference between checking in and being sent up?
Checking in, like when you go to a real prison like Big Sandy or Bloody Blomont, you know what I'm saying, or Coleman 1, or any one of them pens, you know, in Atwater's, so many different pens I could name that's throughout the federal penitentiary, right? But like Big Sandy one of the notorious ones. When you get off that bus or that plane, the marshal's gonna let you know. They're gonna like, man, listen, if you don't know you right, you could go ahead and catch that door right there, man. You know what I'm saying? Right there, that red door or whatever, that's the chute. Save yourself the problem, you know what I'm saying, to try to walk on this yard because you know you can't walk on this yard. So that's a check-in. A send-up is someone that try to play the game, you know what I mean, and get out there and try to think maybe, oh, you know, I could fool the yard, you know what I mean? Yeah. And when that, because eventually the Fed is not big as everybody think it is. You know what I mean? I know guys that done changed their names to walk different yards, and you know them by them, like, man, you get to a yard, you see the guy, you like, man, that's such and such. And they're like, who? And that's such and such right there. Somebody like, nah, that's Buddy right there. You know what I mean? So it's different ways for you to get caught playing that game, and it's a dangerous game. So a lot of people don't play and they know they messed up and they on a real yard, they gonna take that advice from that marshal and check themselves in. But when you get sent up, man, sent up, they ain't a pretty thing. You know, I'm just leave it like that. I ain't promoting and trying it, but sent up ain't a pretty thing.
And since you came out of prison, I noticed that you have a white towel that you throw it in the game. While the game is there.
I should have brought my towel, man. I recently gravitated to that understanding once I got out here in society, cause I came home thinking that, you know, cause believe it or not, I love the code, man. I ain't gonna lie, I love because I was. If you give me a minute, when I wasn't one of these cats that chose the streets. As you know, you can read in my book, I was born into this life, and the work that you do in your book tells how so many of us grow up into these type of poverties and these type of situations. By me coming in the game, I watched the guys that influenced me. I watched them buy back the hood. I watched them. I'm talking about your Rick Brownlees, your Big Ike. I watched these guys, you know what I mean, start businesses in my neighborhood. I watched them literally, you know what I mean, take care of the hood. Yeah. So I wasn't turned off by you know, the dope boy. They was our neighborhood superstars. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So that part I love, and I feel like the game was somewhat a choice at a point at a particular time. So if a person participate in the streets and they know what goes on with that, and if you get caught for any activity, you need to stand on it, man, and take your time and not bring other people into your misery. Right. So when I came home, I thought maybe I could reillustrate that part like I got on my arm, stop snitching. Mm-hmm. I thought maybe I could bring that back to the game. But once I got out here, I said, you know what? One person told me one time, keeping it real went out with bell bottles when I went to the feds. Yeah, it was in your book. I think it kind of went out with white tees. I think you still seeing it, the big long white tees. I think you still seeing some raw form of the game. But nowadays, and when I tell you nowadays, bro, like people is not gonna do no time. They gonna participate. They gonna do everything. That's my message to the kids. Like the game is dead. Like we can't save your homeboy. Is gonna tell on you. You know what I'm saying? He's not gonna go in there and sit down for 30 or 40, 50 years for you. It's not gonna happen when it's being acceptable out here right now. And then you factor in the cameras and technology. Yeah. It ain't a smart choice. So my message to the kids now, like for real, like no matter how quick the money may seem, or you trying to, cut a corner to get on your feet, I don't see you winning. So that's why I throw the towel in.
And you got it from the OG. Game is dead. You know what I'm talking about? We'll be right back with OG after these messages.
The 1970 Chevy Impala with different color waves on shiny rims were prevalent among drug dealers in Miami during the 1980s and the 1990s. Says 1972 Vert with the Gucci interior, rims, and an exotic picture painted on the hood that he purchased from Candyman's family stood out in Dade County. Said went to prison in the 1980s and the 1990s for drug trafficking. Said was one of the ones who had got money on the road.
Now my big cousin Sid was one of the ones, you know what I'm saying, I admired growing up. Was one of the ones in the game. Hey Sid, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hello everybody, I'm Cedric Brown, OT for as they call it for life. Started out in them streets and got out of them streets. And I'm here to tell you it can be done and you need to do it because it's a whole setup.
Sid, when you say you got out of the streets, what you doing now, Sid?
I'm operating a trucking business, man. I started it for myself back in 2001 and been going strong for the last 24 years. So you can't leave them streets alone and get legit.
And Sid, you did some time. What's your incarceration history?
Well, I'll tell you the Reader's Digest version of it is you get them little small charges in Miami. They don't tell us their convictions. You end up going to get that year and a day in the county. Then they send you to get that DC number, and once you get that DC number, you can go back. Now, my first stint in corrections, it only lasted maybe a year or two because of the CRD, which was the control release dates, that they used to kick out game time every Wednesday, depending on the number of beds that were available in the system. So, for instance, if they was overpopulated, they would kick out 75, 80, 100 days every Wednesday off your sentence. And every Wednesday they put out a chart on the bulletin board that told you what came off your time. So, of course, a young person in there getting out fast, they ain't gonna learn nothing. So I got out quick, got right back into it, didn't learn no lesson, and went back on a big trafficking charge. On that trafficking charge, you ain't getting out right there on that one easy. You're going to do some time. So my next stint was almost 4 years. So after that, I learned why I was in. Because at some point, you got to look at it and say, you can't keep doing this over and over again. Because eventually, you either going to end up on somebody's T-shirt or you're going to end up in here with what we call a Buck Rogers date, which means you'd be probably getting out right about now, back then.
And Sid, I know your cars, man. I remember like I was talking about when I was small, we was going to Regina's wedding, we was in that Vert, man. Now, was those cars worth that, like, you know what I'm saying, taking that risk for your freedom?
No, man, that's part of the setup that I mentioned earlier, because, we young, we black, we probably ain't had much growing up, so we see a way to get something fast. And it's the streets, it's a dope game, it's a scam game, it's robbery. So them cars, that jewelry, them clothes, all that stuff ain't gonna be worth it when you sitting up in them penitentiaries looking at the calendar flip over, doing the same thing every year, for year after year. And when it come around holiday time, that's when it really hits you. So it ain't never worth it, bro. The cars, jewelry, like I say, the money, that name on the street, it ain't gonna get you nowhere but in the penitentiary, and that's gonna follow you forever. So it can't never be worth it for that, man. I'd rather be riding in a hoopty and give up all them cars and get money to be able to have a clean record and be able to do whatever,
Yeah. And Sid, like, you done did that, you done it. You did the game, you did the time, you did everything, you know what I'm saying, like you're supposed to, like a real soldier. And now, life on the road. How your life is now, post-incarceration?
Oh, well, you got to even go before getting on the road. I got out with the work release, got a job, and there was times where I was tempted, some of the people that you know that we hung out with, they were still active, and they said, "Come holler at me, I got you." And I had to resist that temptation because I know eventually you might be good for a year, you might be good for 2 years, you might be good for 3, but you're gonna be right back where you was, and you come back after that trafficking charge, you really gonna be in there after that, because that trafficking charge is 250 points. It's on the lines of kidnapping as far as a scoring system to get you into the penitentiary. So I just kept working, figured out a way to get my CDL, worked for a company for 3 years, and then decided to go into business for myself, and then look back. And once you about a year or 2 out and you're on a legit side, you know, this is a message for anybody going through it. You can get there. You just got to resist that initial temptation to get back what you was doing before, because you got to realize the value of your life and your life to your family. And they can't keep seeing you behind bars, or you can't be missing out on being a dad. You can't be missing out on being a son to your mom, cousins to your family, because you're sitting in them people's system, because they got you set up from day one, because ain't none of us is really profiting from that drug game. It's the higher ups, but they use us on the streets as pawns in the chess game, because you know the pawn get knocked out first. So
Yeah.
you can do it. You just gotta, you know, maintain it. Just say, I'm tired of it. But once you see it from a 30,000 foot view, where you realize that I see the game for what it is, because I'm in now. Next man up on the street, he gonna be in now. Next man on the street behind him is just a revolving door of us getting killed and going to the penitentiary. And for what? To have a fixed up vert, to have chains around your neck, to have clothes? No, bro, your life worth more than that.
I was still trying to wrap my head around the fact that I was back in the county on my way to prison. The cell was made up of 20 men, but it was never full in Dade County Jail. Niggas would stay in the county unless they was flight risk. Miami had 4 major jails: the county jail, Stockade, TGK, and Metro West. But the county was the violent of most all of them. The Stockade was next. The other 2 was like daycare for men. Juvenile hall was even harder than them. In the county, we rent the jail. We had everything except our freedom and cars. If you had a little money or a little game, you could even get pussy in the county. Sometimes your girl could come in the visiting room, or any kind of way that you can get it. We wore our own street clothes and everything in our county. I'd rather do time in our county jail, but freedom was always better. I say, but being back in the county now, with all my freedom, I had to get back in survival mode. That means bringing that beast out of me. That would call for me working out, training, shadow boxing, getting back in shape, because I knew I had enemies and I had a reputation. And a lot of young cats were trying to get their name and make a name off of me. Then I was also at V.E.L.I. That also brought on my homeboy beef to my plate. So I knew that I was pressure in the streets and I was pressure in the jail. I say, but that type of pressure right there, it brings out difference in man. Sometimes it break a pipe, or sometimes it make a diamond out you. With me, I was gonna survive either way. So now I had to get my mind back framed into what we was gonna be doing. Heading out in jail and living that life was called for a different type of man. Damn, I couldn't believe I was back in here again.
Welcome back. Still with the OG. We discussing his books, Pressure and Federal Pressure. 2 great books to read, give you details of the street life. Now, OG, after reading both of your books, I want to just discuss, like, I know your brother was a major part of you writing the book, because he wants you to get the message of the G code. What else inspired you to write this book too?
When like you say, my oldest brother, man, rest in peace. He know how dedicated I was to the streets. Nobody know me better than him, man. He was like a father/brother. He reached out to me. I was like maybe 7 years into my sentence. He was like, bruh, it's crazy out here, man. These young cats out here, man, they don't know what the code is. They don't know, you know what I mean? He say, man, you got all that time on your hand, man. And he know how dedicated, like literally, if anybody know me, they know when I'm down with you, I'm rocking with you, I go to the grave with you, man. Right. You know what I mean? Definitely when it comes to this street, like dudes know, like I could have had 100,000 co-defendants. I could have literally went on. I was out of town getting I could have told on their hoes. You know what I mean? All kind of ways. You know what I mean? But he know what kind of heart I got and what kind of man I am and what principles I stand on. So he knew I was the best person that in his eyesight to really explain what it was to, you know what I mean, stand on the code and live by the code. And a lot of times, a lot of people think the code is just about not snitching, but they forget about no women, no kids. You know what I mean? And he was seeing, that's what his thing was, like, bro, they out here, they slaughtering each other, man. They got something called anybody could get it now. You know what I mean? It's like anybody, and I was like, nah, they ain't, you know what I mean? So that would kind of compelled me to write the book. Like, I was like, man, you know, I want to go out there, man, and bring some realness back to the game, because that ain't what it was. You know what I mean? Anybody can't get it.
And when he talking about no women and no kids, meaning that when you get your mark, you hit your target. But if they got kids and they with their lady, innocent bystanders, they're not the target. That's what he means by no women, no kids. Now, in your book, Pressure and Federal Pressure, you return in and out of jail, right, back and forth.
Right.
What are the 3 things you think now will keep you out of prison now?
That's easy, man. One of the first things I had to do was, like, writing my books became therapeutic for me. When I started writing my books, I wrote it from an aspect of let me help somebody else. But as I got into writing my books, it became, a tool for me to look back at times in my life when I wasn't leading, when I was following, or that's why I named the book Pressure. When I was following up on the, first chapter, Follow This Pressure. So I had to go back and really be a hard judgment of myself, but also heal and say, hey, you didn't know better, that's why you didn't do better. And once I realized that, I said, you know what, I want to do better. So since I wanted to do better, I had to figure out what was my triggers, what was going to make me likely reoffend. And by me been doing it so many times, I had so much to go off. Right. So I was able to lay in while other guys were playing cards or watching TV or into the sports, I was in my cell, and we had a lot of time in our cell because they were locking us down a lot more this time. And I had a lot of time to look back and be like, damn, you know what I mean? If, the root of everything was how I was getting my money. I always just wanted to get some money. So if I could come in here and work for this amount of money, you know what I mean, and save, I could create a budget and get out of that. So budgeting was a thing that I had to deal with. Then I had to identify with my triggers. Yeah. And then I had to know, I'm a prideful dude. I'm from the street, I got a name out there. So I had to move from my environment. So that's why I started out in Atlanta instead of coming straight back to Miami this time. Okay. So there were 2 things there, right? Like identifying what was the cause of me continuing just going back in, and then creating a solution for it.
Good shit, man. Hope you stay out this time, man. We praying for you. We riding with you this time.
Prison is a test, man. Like, prison is a test. I done passed that test. You know what I mean? It's no doubt. Long nobody just come for me, man. You know what I mean? Just let me live in peace. I want to live in peace. That's the only thing I can see that, you know what I mean, could land me back in anybody's cage. If it's my life versus your life, and I know I ain't did nothing wrong to you. Yeah. Then hey, man. Hey, if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. I'm not gonna let nobody disrespect me, no matter what it is, because I don't carry myself with disrespect.
Your book, you talk about how you got your name, Gigolo, right?
Right.
Then, you know what I'm saying, you was really popular with the ladies, as you described in your book. But then when you hit the streets, Gigolo came to V.E.L.I.
Right.
Speak on how you got the name V.E.L.I. and what V.E.L.I. mean to you.
Whew, we might have to do it, but listen, first and foremost, man, my daddy named Pig, so nickname's Big in my family, right? So my name was Lil Pig, after your daddy. They always try to assimilate you till the apple don't fall from the tree. It wasn't cool in elementary and junior high school to introduce yourself to young females as Pig, because the little kids, we normally crack jokes. So the Gigolo part came about me watching Purple Rain, man. Purple Rain, Mars Day. Mr. Gigolo himself, man. When he threw that female in the garbage can, I said, I want to be like him. Literally, I want to be a player. Everybody looking at Prince, I was watching Mars Day. You know what I'm saying? So I thought about that. Then I went to the flea market immediately. I mean, I don't know if you old enough, but we used to put words on the back of our clothes and stuff. And I went and told him, man, I want you to put Gigolo on the back of my shirt. And that took off. The young girls liked that name. So I wanted to be a player. But at a certain point, going in, I came out of Okeechobee Boys School like in '91. The game had done changed on me, man. Like I remember you used to be able to get $350 and go to the flea market, and you got a pair of Clarks and a little Dickie set or whatever. You were fresh, you could petite. When I came back out, Tommy Hilfiger and Polo and this and that. It's like I had to get my bag. I had to get to the money. So it wasn't about no Gigolo no more. It was about everybody with Lil Bo, Lil Willie. So it's Lil G, you know, and then you know what ruled the streets? Violence.
Right.
So I had to put my player card up and get violent like everybody else, man. Sorry to say, man, I had to get that. I had to get that hunger. And 15 ad wasn't nothing for no players. It was about the hustlers.
Yeah.
So that's where Lil G come from.
And then when you put that V.E.L.I.
That V.E.L.I. came from after another time in the prison, running into some more of my guys. You know, shout out to Boy V.E.L.I, Shada V.E.L.I, Berta V.E.L.I, you know what I'm saying? On them day one V.E.L.I, Blacker V.E.L.I, Fred, we had a spot on 6 on 14th. And everybody know in Miami, man, from back in the days, that was like a thing in Miami. I don't know who invented it, but we always had names on our packages. You know what I mean? So you was down on anybody in line, they said they're Cloud 9 boys, or they go to One Stop boys, or you know what I mean, they go Thug Life boys, or John Doe boys, or whatever the case may be. We was the V.E.L.I boys, you know what I'm saying? We had Machiavelli. You know what I mean? So everybody around there V.E.L.I s. You know, it was just like Lynch Mob. Everybody wanted to be Masaloso. Everybody Bubba Loso, Charlie Loso. You know what I mean? So it's Losos. That's just a Miami thing.
And now you use that negative and you turn it to positive. Where V.E.L.I stand for vision, empower, leadership, and initiative. How will this model of practice save the youth from gun violence?
First and foremost, we know that the internet went around when I first went to prison. I think MySpace was just coming around. So I went to prison in '06, so it wasn't no Facebook, Instagram, or none of that. So as you know, everybody got phones in prison. As we started playing with the phones in prison, I noticed something. I was like, hey, there's a following, there's the leaders and there's the followers. So back then, I had done, if you get in my book, Federal Pressure, I had done transformed my mind. I was, in my book, Federal Pressure, you won't get into a whole bunch of prison fights. Everybody come home and talk about prison story. I actually became a tutor, helping guys get their GED. And when I felt like that was my calling, I say, let me think of something positive to associate my name with, you know what I'm saying, who I stood with. So I went to looking at the letters and I acronymed it. V.E.L.I standing for what was, you know, what I was doing damaging to the community, selling drugs and, you know, chaos and ops and this and that with my homeboys. Let me go out back to Miami and create a movement based upon not following, but vision, empower, leaders. We need more leaders out here. We need more visuality. We need more people being their selves. So that's the whole mission behind V.E.L.I Life, the movement. You know what I mean? Letting everybody feel comfortable who they is instead of have to be a clone of this person, a clone of that person. That's how things are invented. That's how other things come about. You know what I mean? So that's the whole purpose behind V.E.L.I Life, the acronym, the movement going forward.
And one thing about OG, they always give back and they take care of their community. We'll be right back with OG Jigga V.E.L.I and Pressure and Federal Pressure.
One of the most important lessons I learned in my prison journey is patience. Learning to trust on God's time and the lessons that He was trying to teach me. The wisdom, the hope that I want for the readers that get my book is to empower them to never give up regardless to where they're at in life. If you're in a cell facing prison time or already doing a prison bid, I want you to know you have the power to rewrite your story. I want you to know the power to remember that God has a purpose in your life. And if you still here and alive, then you have an opportunity to sow seeds of a bright future. Then you have the opportunity to move forward and look within yourself and ask them tough questions. I learned that early in my prison time. I learned that in the county jail. The sooner you learn that, then the work would begin. I planned to guide through the decades of prison without first figuring out what God's plan was on my life, knowing that God wanted me to share my story and mentor young guys. I felt the pressures of life as I did, and I wanted them that's still feeling that same kind of pressure, the ones like myself that was labeled felons, lowlifes, and thugs. My message to them is we can overcome those pressures and struggles that we face coming up in the judicial system. I knew God wanted me to help those and reach them. He meant for me to help. This was a calling in my life, my way of making sense after all the years that I was incarcerated.
My name is Joshua Maxwell. I'm currently a lieutenant with Fort Lauderdale Fire Rescue. I've been with the city for 11 years and I've been a firefighter paramedic for 15 years now. Something I see a lot is gun violence. We respond to a lot of trauma calls, and something that resonates with me a lot is not just seeing young victims, but seeing the response from the parents and the mothers. A lot of times I'm not always the ones responding to these scenes, but I'm always caught when I see the family screaming and yelling when their loved ones die. So I could be leaving the hospital and I gotta pass by the family, and what I'm witnessing is something that brings anybody to tears and is very hurtful, especially when it's young victims under the age of 18 years old, even down to toddlers of the age of 4 years old I have seen. For me, when I'm on scene, it could be a young victim from anywhere from 22 to 4 years old. The mother's response is my baby. I can't even work sometimes because the mother is in the way. I have to call PD to get the mother out of the way before I can work, and it's always my baby. Even if they're 30, 40 years old, they're still their mama's baby. And it always makes you think, like, what did they do to deserve this or be in this situation that they're in? And it's something that it seems like it don't stop, and like it's constant, and something that's like just a cycle that's constantly repeating itself over and over. It's also something that's hard to deal with for me as a firefighter paramedic, being a young black man myself and a father.
Blood's being shed and nobody's crying. Lord's like epidemic steady multiplying. And these snakes still got us going against the grain. The breed of soldiers calling on you, Lord, feel our pain. Cause on earth ain't no answers to the questions why. Tattoos on our bodies stressing how we die. In these streets there's a war between soft and hard. And I seen too many killed to ever drop my guard. One thing for sure, in this game we all started nerdy. But for the love of the money, now we all dirty. Handle the jury for me, Lord, and I won't forget to stress God to a thug every time I spit. To my niggas in the joint, I will always shout. Stress the pain in your hearts till they take me out. Since the rules to the game ain't been rehearsed, the breed of soldiers in this crooked land, we all curse. Welcome back. I'm your host, Anthony Gray, the author of the book, A Soul to Care, a blessing that came from trouble. I'm still here with OG. You know what I'm saying? We kicking it. But before we go on, I'm gonna give shout outs to the homie from over town, OG Gator, and his clothes, man, he blessed me with, man. You know, he got a brand, man. Y'all make sure y'all go out and support Blockhouse.
Get that.
Yeah, we're gonna go support, got the shirt, the shorts to match. So y'all go ahead and support that brand. OG, talking about supporting the home team, like, you know, Gator, I holler at OG Gator from over town, Town for Life. In prison, in jails, don't matter what beef you have on the street, some way, if you're from a similar neighborhood or similar county, y'all got to come together and fight together.
Facts.
You want to talk about that experiences? Because I know you, in your book, you talk about you was the leader of the Miami car, you was in state prison, but in the county, talk about like being from Liberty City and going into the county.
Facts. It's crazy, man. In Miami, it starts in the Orange County jail, down south versus the city, this or that, whatever, right? And that mentality grow from, you know what I mean, just being from different parts of the city. But when we get up the road, I'm just speaking on the state joint first, right? Even Dade and Broward, so forth, South Florida, Palm Beach. It's about numbers. It's about numbers, man. Know what I'm saying? You could be on man time and walk the yard on your own. You know what I mean? But you're taking a lot more risk on your own. Or you could be part of a car. You know what I mean? And know that somebody got your back. Cause you can't have your back 100% of the time in the joint. It's impossible. You know what I mean? I don't walk the yard and been on man time, but I still had people that, you know what I mean, fuck with me, rock with me, and will go in with me because that type of quality dude. Not that I gotta participate in everything that's going on, but just knowing I carry myself like that. But it is crazy that we'll have beef on the streets, and then when we get in jail, you know, it's logical, man. It's just logical. It's about the number. It's a number game. You know what I mean? And that was bring, you know what I mean, us together while we're in prison. It's all about the numbers, bro. It's all about, you know, feeling like you got somebody to watch your back when you go to the shower, or you walking with some shower slides on, or you taking a midday nap, or whatever. It's a lot of times that you could get caught slipping in prison. So dudes rather put aside that little street beef. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's easy to take care of yourself on the streets, but in prison, it's just like too many vulnerable areas, too many vulnerable situations.
And in your book, Federal Pressure, you spoke on a situation over on a weight pile where you had beef with the shot caller of the Serenos. Right. And your Muslim car, they stood up for you and they rode for you.
Man, we wasn't just the Muslim. Shout out to all my Muslim brothers, assalamu alaikum to my aunts. But it was the whole compound. Like in 2015, the biggest rise in Manchester history was behind me, based because I was out there standing up for the brothers about the weight pile. If anybody know anything about the Federal, the Serenos is like they're California-based, you know, gang, whatever. You know what I mean? To me, you know what I mean? They do a lot. They carry a lot of weight for the black hands and the Mexican mafia, whatever type stuff. But they hold their own. I gotta respect. You know, respect to them for as being unified. But that particular situation extended from the weight pile. But they already had a green light on me a little bit because I hadn't been, you know what I mean, defiant to what they think was rightfully theirs. Yeah. The whole yard went up, bro. SIS had to figure out, like, they thought I was somebody real important, but what they didn't realize that if inside of the prison, there's different cars, but when it comes to a race situation, everybody's, you know what I mean? Because when the Spanish or the whites or the blacks get into it with each one of each other, you can't identify, you ain't got time to say, oh, you from somewhere else or you from here. All the blacks finna get it. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? All the Spanish gonna get it. So people know when it comes to race, it's like you gotta stand on your side of what race you is. Right. So with that being said, and then me being a cat that was well respected from all the cars, because one thing, I wasn't a hawk, I wasn't a rat. So you can't stand down when it's a race situation. That's how that situation went right there about the weight pile. But no, shout out to everybody, man. The GD, Vice Lord, Crips, the Bloods, everybody that participated in my cause. I hate that I brought that situation to, you know, because a lot of good guys lost a lot of good situations they had going on now.
One thing I like about your book, what I love about your book is your lived experiences. Just what you just said, put away street beef. If we could do that in a penitentiary system, why we can't start having peace treaty now and wave the white flag and call for peace in our community? The premature death of young black males in America has been identified as a public health crisis. It's an OG call. You just got it from the dude on the walk the yard who done seen it, done lived it. We'll be right back.
Hey, what's going on? My name is Garrett, AKA G with Fly Supply, which is a fashion brand that we built back in 2010. I actually started that with 3 of my closest homeboys, Rick, AKA Rick the Vibe, Reggie, and also KP. Pretty much we started that brand, like I said, in 2010, and it's been an amazing journey. We've been able to travel the world from New York, California, Georgia, China, just to name a few. So I'm always grateful, you know, for the opportunity to be able to work with the team, because it just allowed us to do so much. You know, we've been able to do other business ventures, from real estate to a stage play called Dream Out Loud, where we got to share with the world about our journey in the fashion industry. And, you know, sometimes I think, and I'm just so grateful, man, I spend time with the man upstairs, And I just think about how working on the team allowed me to do so much, which is one of the reasons that allowed me to volunteer with the juvenile correctional facility with the V.E.L.I kind. And so one of the things that stand out to me the most about being able to serve at the juvenile facility is the way how the kids gravitate towards me. And I'm not too sure if it's just the style, or they could feel my heart when I talk to them, or just my authenticity when I deal with them. It's just been a beautiful thing, man. And me just being able to volunteer week in and week out, I get to see how brilliant these young men are. It's just so important for me to be there and be support to these young men, because you know we trade stories with each other, and I hear so much about, you know, when they were 12 they got shot, or they could have got shot at 13 or 14. And so, you know, it sometimes it burdens me, because I don't think any young man should go through those experiences. But I just always want to be in their corner, and I would always want to help everybody, but I do understand that that's something that starts within your own self. So my goal is to, whoever I get to speak with, man, if they're willing to change, then, you know, I'm willing to support. You know what I'm saying? My advice to the youth would be to always be your authentic self and always show up the best way you can. I would also say, don't think that you can do everything on your own. It's always good to get with a team, a like-minded team, or a team that knows a lot more than you, so that way you can always learn. The reason why I feel like I'm successful is because I always put God first, and I don't ever think that I'm above anyone. You know, I always feel like we're all equal and we can all learn from each other. You know, so I feel like with each step of the journey, as long as I keep that mindset, it always keep me grounded, you know, and keep me humble.
Welcome back. We still with the OG Jigga V.E.L.I, Dade County. He put the city on his back, answer that call. OG, since you've been home, and how I found was on YouTube. I saw you out there promoting positive messages. My team reached out to you. You did that story on me, and I appreciate you doing that, brother.
Right, all day.
And you know what I'm saying? And now you back in the city, and What They Do podcast done took over, man. You know what I'm saying?
All day, man.
Like, he definitely took over. Speak on What They Do.
Man, y'all already know what it is. Thanks to everyone that's been making us the fastest growing podcast out of Miami-Dade County and all of Florida, right? Yeah, I spoke on your situation, man, when I was just doing my little thing in Atlanta. And your story was profound too, man. I like to give you your roses too, man.
Sure,
like
G.
everything for a soul that care.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I read your project. I knew what you stood on, and them the type of stories that I want to highlight. I just don't want to put stories out there about prison fights, riots, and things like that. You know what I mean? I want to show stories of people, you know what I mean, coming from the hood, going through some of the same, you know, pressures that, you know, I went through, but finding down in life and figuring it out and doing what you did, man, and continue to do what you do. So when you reached out and you was like, man, you want this project to try to, you know, bring us together the same way we be together in prison,
yeah.
I was like, man, come on, man, sign me up. That's easy. So What They Do podcast is just another extension of me trying to further my message out here through my books, through my experience, to just tell the kids, man, like, you know, y'all not each other enemy, man. You know what I mean? There's life after of 25 or 21. You know what I mean? Look at the OG, man. I'm still in shape. He's still in shape. You could live a good, healthy life, man. You could get you a trade out here. You don't have to commit crimes or whatever. Or you don't have to be in nobody's cage. You know, and like the work you've been saying, man, with the JIP, you know, gangster in training.
Yeah.
And everything that you've been saying, I've been paying attention to, man. Like dudes feel like the G code, you gotta go out here and catch a body.
Right.
To be a man, you know what I mean? That ain't what the code was about, man. The code was using the, you know, what, even though we were wrong, but we was using selling drugs to get a business, to get that. Not promoting selling drugs, but I'm just saying that's what was, you know what I mean? And y'all gotta go do your study, man. The men that founded America built stuff off of bootlegging and everything. It just got wrong when we started selling crack. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, it's still wrong. I don't condone selling no drugs or anything like that. I think that if you put that same hard work into something positive, far as a trade or a business, you could do just as great as you can, you know, without the less headaches in the world, cause you're not gonna be, ain't no more BMF runs, man. The OG gonna tell you, I think Big Meech will tell you that. There ain't no more BFF runs, ain't no more Miami Boy runs. You know what I mean? So what they do podcast, what I'm doing now, I'm highlighting businesses, highlighting student athletes, bringing the rap community and coaches together and bringing, you know, just a platform that Miami could express the positive side of Miami, man.
Sure, man. And you're doing a great job, man. If y'all didn't do it yet, follow OG. What's your Instagram, OG?
Oh, my Instagram, OG_Jigga.V.E.L.I, man. Just like my name, GIGAVELLI, or 1LI. OG Jigga.V.E.L.I on all platforms, man. On YouTube, what they do is the platform. Y'all just inbox, man. You feel like you great at what you're doing. You got a product out there, man, or you just want, to put some of your messages out there for us through your music or your art or whatever it is, man. We gonna look at it, and if it's something that we want to work with, we gonna get you on the podcast.
There it is from OG. Make sure you get the books, Pressure and Federal Pressure. We
also
out,
available on Amazon.
All right, we out.
Anthony was a child with an incarcerated father. His father spent 17 years in prison for trafficking cocaine in the state of Florida. Anthony's entire childhood was spent learning penitentiary lessons.
Hi, I'm David Gray. In 1991, I was sentenced to 25 years with 15 mandatory as a habitual violent offender for drug trafficking in the state of Florida. And during those years, I don't have none of those bad prison stories. In fact, prison to me was a blessing because it allowed me to look at the world from the outside in. And during my incarceration, I seen a lot of things. I remember talking to some of the older guys, and they was Muslim guys. They was telling me, like, hey, and what you gonna do? I was waiting for a lawyer for an appeal. One guy said, hey man, I waiting for a lawyer and for 15 years. He ain't come yet. So, what you gonna do? Another guy told me about Malcolm X, Dr. King. I learned about Gandhi, so I started studying these people. I realized that Malcolm walked this road and he read the dictionary, so I read the dictionary. I studied Gandhi. He was in a political fight, understanding the world, how we as a people just go through oppression. So I started looking back and saying, damn, how did I get myself into this position, and how do I become around some people, who I'm like, damn, I know I could have done better. So I just started studying. A guy asked me one time, say, man, what you gonna do when you get out? And the question was, I said, I don't know, but what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna study everything I can in here. So I studied pretty much as an equivalent to someone with a just below a PhD as far as education concerned. When I came home, my mom, after 17 years I came home, my mom gave me a refurbished Dell laptop. It told me, learn this. And in 6 months, 9 months, I had a national flower site. I was selling flowers. People thought I was still selling drugs or something because life was different. I was buying real estate, I was buying property. Then my mom got sick and my sister put her in hospice, and I'm like, whoa, I got too much stuff. If the whole ride was just to do this right here, then I went out, I took out of hospice, kept her alive for 3.5 years, and I sold my company, and then was like, okay, now I'm back to zero again. So I had to go back and look at, that's why I say in prison, I wouldn't change nothing that happened. Because if I change something that happened, it may change how my kids came out. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, just a little emotional for me. Because when I was in there, I didn't want my kids to get lost. We would go down the same roads that I went down. It wasn't that, I was telling somebody else earlier today, it wasn't that the road I went down, that it was the road that's all I could have done. It was the road that paid the bills, And it's like, like anything else, you get a job. you're going for a better job because you want more money. It pays the bills. So when I hit back down to zero, and I say, like, I could be back up a minute, I won't change something in the world because I won't have the courage that I have, you know, and to knock down doors, you know, to take no's and push them to the side and keep going, you know, to close my eyes and see what I believe. So I got into the working world. I started out labor, just driving trucks. And in that arena, you know, I was around average people, but it's just like, you know, as a worker, I kind of felt like I was more of a boss, you know, more so because when I was in the drug game, I wasn't the lieutenant or something. It was me, you know. When I had my floral site, it was me. So when I came to working, taking orders from people who was like, you know, kind of like just reminded me of prison guards wasn't working for me. So I just kept moving on. I got my real estate license, did that, and then I got to Miami-Dade as a job as a realtor, and they needed someone to build some software for technical things. And at that point, I'm like, okay, well, so I'm gonna put myself out there, what I got to lose. So I put myself out there, the director noticed it. Now today, I'm the business intelligence architect. I make over 100 grand for Miami-Dade County, and the rest is history. I'm on the road of building Miami-Dade County a software that it can't afford, but it will be, I'm building it as this will be what I leave to the world.
The book of Job, chapter 5, verse 2, King James Bible, quote, "For wrath killeth the foolish man, and envy slayeth the silly one," end quote. So why do we fight against one another when an enemy can become an ally? In the streets, we fight others that live a few blocks over from us, but we both reside in the same neighborhood. And those blocks make up the neighborhood. When we go to the city or county jails, the one's enemy from a different block becomes an ally of the same neighborhood as we fight others that are from different neighborhoods. When we go to the state penitentiaries, the one's enemy from a different neighborhood becomes an ally of the same city or county as we fight others that are from different cities or counties. And those cities or counties make up the state. When we go through the United States penitentiary system, the one's enemy from a different city or county becomes an ally of the same state as we fight others that are from different states. And those states make up the United States of America. When there's an international war, the one's enemy from a different state becomes an ally of the same country as we fight others that are from different countries. And those countries make up the earth. If there was an invasion from the unknown, the one's enemy from a different country becomes an ally of humanity as we fight together as people to protect and save the earth. So it doesn't matter what block you're from, what neighborhood you claim, or what city or county you represent, or what state you drive. It doesn't matter your political affiliation, the race you identify with, or the gender pronouns you prefer to use. We all represent humanity on earth. For wrath killeth the foolish man, and envy slayeth the silly one. So when we speak on black crime in America, and OG called penitentiary rules in effect, I'm calling all the black gangs in America to come to the table of brotherhood and wave the white flag for peace. Come to the table of brotherhood to start creating pathways that's cause for us to develop opportunities to clutch that bring forth no jailhouse education, but collegiate philosophies and experiences that bring forth no young shooters, but warriors with weapons to innovate, that bring forth no acceptance of failure, but the courage to face challenges despite how difficult the task may become. That bring forth the value and understanding, the wisdom and self-actualization, because we have to unite. When the Lost Tribes was fractured, we was captured and brought over to Western captivity. Let's bring together peace, because an enemy can become an ally.
We got to unite by any means necessary, and we got to fight.
When I wake up, I thank God. When I wake up, I thank God. Am I lucky to be alive, or is it just a high right now? There's something on my mind. All I can do is smile right now. Inside I won't change, but you can keep the change right now. I know it ain't the same, but I'm in my vibe right now. Roll one up, get high. Pray to the Most High. Every day get fly. Thankful for my life. Can't let these blessings go out in vain. I sip on some liquor and blow out the pain. My head's in the clouds with the stars is my aim. I wake up and go out and do it again. When I wake up, I thank God. When I wake up, I thank God.
And all the young kids that are living their life to senseless violence, man. We definitely trying to be an impact out here.
So welcome home, man. You got your, you know, the streets welcome you home, the G code welcome you home. We appreciate you, OG's Good Value.
When I wake up, I thank God. When I wake up, I thank God.
Welcome home, OG, Leonard. Glad to have you back, baby boy.
OG V.E.L.I, man, welcome home, baby, for the 2025, man, 305, you already know what it is. Hey, shouts out to the big homie, OG V.E.L.I, you know the G code.